Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It is our first CRE Chat Live podcast of 2020, and we are so excited that Ward joined us for our first CRE Chat on Twitter. We covered the topic discipline. We thought Ward would be a really good fit for that topic, especially jumping into the new year. So we're going to start a little bit with Melissa's first question for Ward and one reason why we picked him.
Yeah. So Casey's right. It's our first podcast of 2020. And Ward Richmond, we couldn't think of a better person to kick off the new year than Ward because Ward, in our eyes, is the king of discipline. So we just, Ward, we follow you on Instagram. We follow you on LinkedIn. We follow you on, you're getting more and more active on Twitter. Yes.
I did last week for sure, or
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
And how many followers did you hit on Twitter?
200. Well, 200, yeah.
So we're celebrating your 200th followers, and hopefully you will become more active because I think you have a really good message for people. And I'm excited to kind of bring that message through our podcast. So when I follow you, usually up about, I don't know, an hour before I am, maybe two, and I've seen that you've worked out or done something that day, and you have a pretty strict regimen. But my question to you is, have you always been disciplined? What was the catalyst that kind of transformed your life to make you more focused and want to be more disciplined in your life?
Right. So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were mentioning if you have something like a word or an action of some type tattooed on your arm, then that means that you really struggle with that thing. And I think during our chat, I mentioned I have discipline tattooed on me. I have a lot of tattoos. And so I have that there, definitely not because I am a master of discipline, but because it's something that I realize is important and that I need to always work at. And so discipline's just a really tricky thing, and I talk about it a lot. I respect disciplined people quite a bit, but I mean, like any human being, I lack quite a bit of it, and it's not easy to live like an extremely disciplined lifestyle. So I think I've always been good about being disciplined about certain things that I care about and that I enjoy, right? And I think that's how most people are. So we talked about a pre-show. I played football growing up. So I liked playing football. I wanted to play in the NFL when I was a kid. And I thought that was something that was very important to me. So I was very disciplined.
For a second, because if nobody has met Ward in person, he is like, well, to me, he's like a giant.
Well, how tall are you then, Melissa?
I'm 5'3".
Yeah, so you're 5'3". Okay, I'm 6'4", so I'm a little taller than you.
You're a full foot taller, so I could totally see the football thing. I could see you in, playing in pro football.
Right. So I definitely saw myself there, and with that, you need to embrace discipline if you want to be good at football. So I wanted to be good at football. I showed up to practice. I paid attention to my diet, my size, like lifting weights and running. And I was always at practice. I didn't want to go to two-a-days in Texas when I was 10 years old. I mean, do tackling drills against guys that were much bigger than me when I was like I didn't like come out of the womb 6'4", 240 like I am today. I was really awkward growing up and getting in through middle school, and I was real lanky and uncoordinated, and I continued to play football because I had the goal. And thankfully I was able to make it into college, and I was recruited to college to play football, but I got injured my freshman year, so it ended my career, right? But up until that point, I was very disciplined about football. Now, I was not disciplined about calculus when I was in high school. I didn't care about that. So it's all, you're going to be disciplined about things that you care about typically. And we were talking also earlier, like everybody has this energy and everybody has discipline. So some people are disciplined about eating cake and watching Netflix all day. and that kind of discipline it's not going to be very rewarding, but still it's energy basically that you're directing towards something that you value. And for me, and sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here and I'm rambling about this, but another thing you talked to me about prior to this is, hey, you found discipline when you quit drinking, right? Because it's pretty public knowledge. I've written a couple of articles on it that I quit drinking now a little over 4 years ago, quit drinking alcohol. I said, hey, I was very disciplined actually about drinking because I drank almost every day. So that's pretty good if that's your goal, is to drink. And but when I quit, I did recognize, wow, I spent a lot of energy on that. And now you have this energy. It makes it very easy to recognize the energy once you cut it out, and you cut something like that out of your life that you're using a lot of energy on, and then you got to redirect it. So since that time, I have, I think I mentioned when I was drinking, throughout that time, I actually trained for and completed 3 Ironman triathlons. So are you familiar with those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Familiar, never done one.
It's pretty hardcore. It's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a marathon. You do it all in one day. So, and I'm a former offensive lineman. I'm a really big guy. I'm not really like built like a triathlete, but I mean, I had discipline to do that almost to hide the fact that I had a drinking problem. I think, like, looking back on it, like I wanted to go be disciplined about accomplishing things to balance out the fact that I like to party a lot. But anyway, when I quit drinking, I did put a lot of that focus towards my career. And and since that time, we've all met each other. And I do talk about it a lot. I never acknowledged that it was a trait of discipline beforehand that got me to accomplish, that helped me accomplish a lot of different things in life, be it, a good time having honky tonker that like to drink beer with the best of them, or a college football player, or an Ironman, or whatever you want it to be. There, it's going to require energy and discipline. And if you want to set the world record for binge watching Netflix, that too. I mean, it's painful. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here, but barely said that.
I don't think anybody's going to censor us for that.
Okay. But anyway, so what do you ladies think about discipline, and how do you see it being you? I mean, Casey, what do you think in your life right now? What do you think you're really disciplined about?
Wow, tables have turned on this podcast.
Yeah. I'll just throw that at you, Casey.
Ooh, this caught me off guard. I think that there's still a lot of room for me to be disciplined. I've actually, I guess, honestly, I've been kind of lost. I used to exercise a lot, and I just haven't been doing that. And it's something that I miss doing and need to incorporate a little bit more. So I think, honestly, that I need to, maybe my discipline is staying at work too late, and I need to switch it a little bit so I get home earlier and can go for a run after work. And thinking about some things is, maybe I keep coming up with excuses a little bit. Like, my goal is to get to work right at 8:00, and I'm getting there at like 8:10, 8:20. And my excuse is, well, I made breakfast that morning, or I stayed late last night so I can get into work a little bit later. So I think my discipline right now is a little not focused at the moment, honestly.
Yeah, but you're good at doing, I mean, you're always on social media. You're really good at that. That's how I interface with you quite a bit. So I know that takes discipline, and a lot of people are not good at that. And in everything you can be disciplined at, whether it's Ironman or football or alcohol or commercial real estate, it can be unhealthy. And that's something you want to be well balanced. And I think, I mentioned, like, do you want to be on your deathbed, and are you going to be thinking about, man, I was disciplined at making cold calls for 30 years? Like, no, you're not. I can pretty much promise you. it will be nice if
Point. You know, because at our CEO Paul Ellis here at Foundry, he talks about that. He at our annual meeting, he talks about, you know, what are people going to say about you? How, you know, it's more important how you impact others' lives than about the money you made. So I think that you know is relatable to what you just said when you said, are you going to be in your deathbed and be proud of how many cold calls you make? That's not really what life is all about. I don't think that's what this business is all about. You know, to get a little philosophical on you guys, I think it's about, and I think the good brokers in our business, yeah, they're disciplined, but they're disciplined in a way that they see a bigger picture and they see the impact that they make on their clients and on people's lives. So, but they also, you're exactly right, Ward, you can work, you can be overly disciplined about your work to the point where it becomes your entire life's focus. And I think I've experienced that. And that leads to a lot of things, one including burnout, maybe, because if you're directing all of your energy into one thing, then yeah, you're going to probably be good at that one thing, but you're going to let other things go by the wayside. So, you know, for me, as we talked about, you know, who has kids before we went live, and you know, I have 2 young kids. So do you, Ward. And part of my problem was I was working too much. For, you know, I had two young kids at home, and I was to the point where I was putting too much energy into work and not finding that life balance that I needed. So like you, I think, you know, where I needed to be more disciplined is maybe finding better ways to have that work-life balance.
Right, for sure.
So for a definition, really, what is self-discipline to you, Ward? How would you define it?
I think it really goes a little hand in hand with integrity. Self-discipline is about doing what you say you're going to do, what you tell yourself you're going to do. It doesn't help. It doesn't matter what you tell anyone else you're going to do. It's what do you tell yourself you're going to do, and then doing it is the discipline, and whatever that is. And that's what self-discipline is. And I think that if you're successful in doing what you say you're going to do, and I mean, sure, do what you tell other people you're going to do too, that's great. But at the end of the day, it's about what you're telling yourself. Because even if I tell you I'm going to do the podcast today, I'm also telling myself I'm going to do the podcast today. And then if I don't, I'm going to let everybody down. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't be very disciplined. And, you know, people that don't follow through and don't have integrity and don't have discipline, they're going to disappoint not only themselves, but those around them. And then if you do it on a regular basis and you continually disappoint yourself and those around you, that is not going to be a very fulfilling life to be living, because you're going to want to do the opposite. And I think it's like anything else. You're going to gain momentum, positive or negative, depending on what you do. And I recognize that when you do what you say you're going to do, and you live a life that's focused on self-discipline and living a disciplined lifestyle, then you gain momentum, and that becomes easier to do. And then it becomes very fulfilling to consistently do what you say you're going to do. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, but the more you do it and the more you win those days and those tasks and those goals, then the better you're going to feel and the easier it's going to be and the more confident you're going to be about finishing those goals. And then, I mean, I think it just elevates you as a human and energy, and will have a positive impact on everyone around you versus the opposite.
Your motto, what you have tattooed on your arm, it's not just the word discipline, right?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Yeah, it's discipline and freedom, which I got from Jocko Willink, who is a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, and he has written a couple books, one of them being titled Discipline Equals Freedom. And he has a podcast called Jocko Podcast, I think, and a really cool guy. And he just wrote another book too. I haven't read it yet, but I got that from him. And I think he may have, I don't think he came up with it. I think it may be something from the SEALs or the military, but he definitely brought it to my attention, and that's exactly right. And I mean, if you live, it sounds like discipline is something that is going to be a thorn in your side, but actually if you embrace a disciplined lifestyle and you do what you set your mind to doing, it creates a lot of freedom and makes it so, I mean, I just think it's fulfilling. So, and of course, I am not anywhere close to being perfect about this. And I set a lot of goals for myself that I don't consistently get 100% on my goals of each day, every day. I wish I did, but I don't.
I never really thought about it in this way before, that being disciplined could also be task oriented. I guess kind of coming into this, I looked at discipline as the big picture, but you can also tie it to little tasks along the way or little projects along the way.
I've got a list that I try to put together each morning of 5 critical tasks to complete. I got this. I'm going to give credit to my favorite podcasters out there, but Andy Frisella, he just quit doing the MF CEO project, and he now has a podcast called Real AF with Andy Frisella. But I recommend you go back and listen to the MF CEO project, and he calls it a power list. And his philosophy is, you only need to do 5 things each day, 5 important tasks each day. There's nothing more. If you're doing more than 5 things, you're bogged down, and you need 5 focused, important things to do each day. And if you hit those 5 things each day, you're going to be winning and making massive strides towards your goal, your big macro goals. But yeah, the more you simplify things and you break it down to, let's just do these 5 things today. For example, don't eat sugar, go to yoga, read the 30-page BOV that I did, that our team did, that I need to review. That's going to take me an hour to go through. And then make 5 phone calls to important people that can drastically change my life. And then turn off my phone at 5 p.m. and read books to both of my children and help them go to bed at night. If I do those 5 things today, like, boom, I'm going to be feeling really good. And what else is there? Doesn't matter. I did those 5 things, and that gives you a peace of mind. That means it helps you each morning. I mean, for me, each morning I sit down and I think about it. So I lay out what's really important today. And the worst thing you can do is get pulled in 50 different directions and not really accomplish anything that's important, but spend a lot of time halfway doing a lot of non-important things. Do 100% of 5 important things, and you're going to be doing great. So I think for sure the only way to accomplish discipline is to make it really small, bite-sized steps to help you get there. You can't just say, I'm going to be disciplined like a mofo today. And like, what does that mean?
So how does discipline, how is it different from just hard work?
Well, it's just your definition of hard work. I mean, it has nothing to do with like building a barbed wire fence across, the state of Texas. That sounds like hard work to me. Like reviewing a BOV is not hard work. It's just more like something I don't really want to do, but I need to do, because if it's a 30-page BOV, it's obviously a pretty complex, gigantic deal that can create wealth for our client and our team and a potential purchaser of this asset. So I need to go spend the time to really understand this, and that's important. I mean, is that hard work? No. It's just like dedicating 1 hour to thoroughly review something and understand it. So, and that's the thing. Discipline, I think it comes across as hard work, but it's not hard work. It's just doing consistent, easy things on repeat. And that is hard to do. But I've like another little saying that I like is it's not complex, not easy. So yeah, it's not that hard, but it's also not easy to hit, if you want to go back to the list of 5 things, like do 5 simple things each day. That's not easy, but it's not like hard work. I mean, nobody on this podcast has that hard of work to do. We all do commercial real estate for a living. So I always remind myself of that. If ever I think that what I'm doing is hard, say, no, it's not, because I'm not like building, a house, or even I'm not a plumber. Like I'm not out there really working. I'm not collecting people's trash and waking up at 5 a.m. and riding around outside. And right now it's freezing cold outside, or in July it's going to be burning hot outside. Like that is some hard work. Everything I do is very easy in comparison, but I do being disciplined to do the easy work is extremely challenging at the same time. So don't get me wrong, but the consistency to do the things you need to do to be able to perform in this line of work is difficult and challenging, but it's also not that hard.
I would say, going back to your writing down 5 things a day, to me, the difference between hard work, and I'm thinking hard work as in, the job can be hard and difficult mentally. It's challenging.
For sure.
Not physically hard, but if you're not intentional with your day, then, you can do hard work and not be disciplined. You can do a lot of work and not get anywhere because you're not disciplined. So I think the two work together.
Yeah.
I also think if you don't go into your day with a picture of these are the things I need to accomplish today, you may be working hard and you may not be accomplishing anything. Wasting your energy. And I do think, especially being, I moved from Memphis to Nashville. I've been here working in industrial in Nashville for about 1.5 years. And what I see as being hard work is playing the long game and being patient. And that's where discipline kind of comes into play, because these deals, these transactions we're working on, these clients we're assisting, can take time, and you have to be patient and you have to be focused to see kind of the fruits of your labor, so to speak. So daily for me, discipline means mentally checking in and saying, I may not see the results today, but I'm working towards the results for my clients. And I see that will happen in the future, and to not give up.
Yeah.
I really liked what Abigail Sievers said on the CRE chat. She said, you can work hard, but that doesn't mean you're working smart or being productive. She said, I think it takes self-discipline to be truly productive.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. And we had a lot of good answers on that. James Milner said, you're the CEO of you. Find some daily motivation, some self-worth. Be willing to grind and don't expect a silver platter.
Yeah. It's all, I think working efficiently is so important. And understanding that that greatly outweighs lots of hours.
Yeah.
And I got fired from my first job in commercial real estate. The senior broker I worked for he thought I was lazy, and I thought I was a genius. So it's like, dude, you got to work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Bro, you got it all wrong, man. You don't actually. You can do everything you want to do in 3 hours, but you got to do it my way. And I mean, it is something I joke, because I'm a master delegator. I do work extremely efficiently, and our team here at Colliers, there are 6 of us now, and they all will tell you I work extremely efficiently. And I joke that I'm really efficient worker because I really don't like to work. So it's great. It comes naturally to me. But people that love to work, which I know, and we have some of those people on our team, like, good for you. Keep going, man. But I'm gonna go do something else with my time. And that I like my list of 5 critical tasks and knock those babies off. And of course, when you got to step it up and make magic happen for your clients, you're going to do it. But at the end of the day, I want to be really strategic in how I'm operating, and that it pays off and it creates freedom.
That's such a great point. And I want to transition into, obviously you talk about freedom. Our question number 4 was, what are the benefits of practicing self-discipline? Obviously freedom is one, and we've talked about that a lot. But you know, some of the other benefits that you get from discipline. I remember when we started, we had our pre-CRE chat call with you, you were fasting for how many days? 3?
I think the longest fast I've successfully completed was 36 hours. So
okay. It was 36 hours, and you said, you know, I'm almost done with my fast, but you said, and I was so tempted to eat something, you know, but I mentally reminded myself that if I did that, I'm going to let myself down. And I can see that if I accomplish this goal of this 36-hour fast, I'm going to feel a sense of accomplishment. I'm going to feel like there's going to be a reward from that. And maybe that's more like a self-esteem award or some way of proving to yourself. I challenged myself in this sense, and I was successful. So, and that stuck with me. You know, when we were talking about this, I thought, yeah, I mean, that I don't think I can fast for 30. I don't know that I could do a 36-hour fast.
You don't have as much extra calories sitting on your bones as I do, Melissa. So I wouldn't attempt that. It might not be safe.
But I mean, you know, when people fast, I think just for me, you know, part of discipline is mental, right? So if I don't come into something saying I can't do that, maybe, and I approach it, maybe I could do that, and then seeing on the other end of it, if I do accomplish that sense of self-esteem and that boost of confidence that it gives me to have completed that.
There's a lot of benefits, if we want to talk specifically about fasting too, that I enjoy, and it's not easy to get them. Like most positive things, it's not easy. And I mean, I find that it makes my mind sharper. It elevates my energy level. It does while you're getting hungry throughout it, once you're finished with a 36-hour fast, you don't want to just go like binge eat something. You want to eat really clean. It resets your system. So there's all of these positive things, but you got to break through the wall. And if you don't break through that wall of the pain not even the pain, it's not even real pain. It's like commercial real estate's not really hard work. Like fasting for 36 hours is not true pain. It's just like this mental thing, like I should eat dinner, right? Like, cause I always eat 3 square meals a day, but you don't really need to. And your body's not going to freak out if you don't eat for 36 hours. You're going to be just fine. If anything, you give it a rest and you let it break. So I think about all of these things when, yes, it sounds great to eat dinner, especially after not eating breakfast and lunch, but it's not the end of the world if you don't, you know. And there's so many great things that come out of sticking with it for 36 hours that you do have to, it's all about the discipline of reminding yourself of the long-term reward. And it's like a little miniature test of what we do in business and or in the gym or whatever. And it's the long-term implications of you know, your dedicated effort and discipline to accomplish your goals, because no really great goal is going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and everybody to answer that question everybody said accomplishment really is the best benefit of discipline, is feeling that sense of accomplishment. I don't think there's somebody that didn't answer that when we asked that question on CRE chat. And
Mike Hieronymus, I like what he said, because he said in CRE you have to constantly plant seeds. So you think about, you're planting a seed, you're not going to see that. It's going to take a while for that seed to grow, obviously. So he says he's got deals from connections he's made years ago. So it really is about, again, playing the long game and maybe having that end goal in sight. And so he says, stay the course with your plan, and you end up making, obviously you make money. So there's a financial reward, but there's also great relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I can say, again, I'll go back to, changing markets, or maybe just starting out as a younger broker. If you don't have discipline, there are days where you can allow yourself to really, if you're not mentally in check and have that end goal in sight, you can allow yourself to mentally give up, because what we're doing, we're planting seeds, and maybe whether we're prospecting for new clients or trying to assist a client maybe you're doing, I know, Ward, you do a lot of tenant rep work, right? So when you're doing tenant rep work, especially in a landlord's market, it becomes very challenging to, either help your tenant find exactly what they need, or, get a deal accomplished sometimes, because there's probably 5 tenants trying to vie for the same space. So, yeah, I think there's a benefit that you see on the back end, but it takes a lot of time. But to go back to your fasting analogy, when I look back and I've done a deal for a client, there's such a sense of reward and a sense of, again, like what Casey said, a sense of accomplishment, that, hey, I've helped make an impact on their business.
Yeah.
To me, that's what drives me. It's not really, I'm not driven by, people ask, what drives you? It's definitely not money. It's more of, how can I impact others through my work?
Right.
Yeah. And Ward, you talked about your 5 critical tasks what helps you determine those 5 critical tasks? Like, what's the best way to set goals to reach those tasks, to accomplish those tasks?
So I think you just wake up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee and you think, what are the 5 most important things that I need to accomplish today? And it's different for everybody. And you're going to know once you start thinking about it. For me, at least, it comes pretty easily. Like, here's what they are. Here are 5 things that I want to knock off my plate today, so I do not have to think about this anymore. Or here's something that I've been struggling with lately. Like, I had pizza for dinner 3 out of the last 5 nights because it was easy. Well, I need to put a stop to that today. So it might be something like that, or it might be something, I bring up this BOV because I have this BOV that's been sitting on my desk for like 2 weeks, and I've been delaying looking at it. I've been traveling a lot, and it's not super time critical, but it's weighing on me, and I know that I need to go take some time to sit down and go look at it and go through every single page of it. And so that's something today that I've got to get this handled, and today's the day. And I think if just try it tomorrow, when you wake up, and just try to write down 5 things and text me and tell me, like, hey, that was hard. I have 20 things. If you have 20 things and you can't pick 5, then that's one of your tasks needs to be narrow my 20 down to 5, because you shouldn't have 20. And, but I mean, I think they'll come pretty clear to you. There are things that you've been avoiding doing, or goals that you haven't been meeting, that you've really, like, maybe you want to go running after work, or you want to get a workout in before you go to work. I didn't always wake up at 4:30. It happened. I didn't say I want to wake up at 4:30, but, I did say I want to do yoga, and then I started doing yoga, and I've met this great yoga teacher because she subbed for this class I used to go to. I used to go to the 4 p.m. class, and then she teaches a 5:15 a.m. class. And I really liked her and said, I'm going to go try this class out. And then I started going to 5:15, and I realized, wow, this like really amps me up before the day at work, and I get started and I'm done. I get a little bit of really quiet time before the family wakes up, from like 4:45 to 5:15 or whatever, to have my coffee and like total silence and like some true quiet time. Then I get my workout done. I'm done at 6:15. So then I have more quiet time to just have to myself. And then at 7, I am like on fire and I've been awake for like 2.5 hours and everybody else is like, like barely walking into work or getting to their car to try to make it to work on time, I'm at my desk, like firing off emails, and I've got this head start. So that created this whole new appreciation for waking up early. And I know how great it makes me feel and how productive it makes me, and makes me work really efficiently and write my list of 5 things down before most people are even awake. And then I'm already knocking 2 of those things off my list before most people are even awake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, then that's something I grew to love to be disciplined about. So then if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post sometimes like, yo, I'm up at 4:45, discipline equals freedom, or write some quote. It's like, yeah. And I get shit for this, believe it or not, from like college friends. They text me, they're like, I don't care that you wake up at 4:45, dude. Stop posting that.
Well, obviously they care because they're writing to you.
Exactly. Say, yes, you do care, because I'm going to stop following you on Instagram. Oh, you really care, don't you? Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just do it as a reminder for myself to say, this is important and it makes you feel great, so go do it. Is it easy to do that every morning? Some mornings I wake up, I mean, I've been doing it for so long now, I wake up pretty automatically at like 4:45, but it's still, I don't like necessarily want to go work out at 5 a.m. all the time and go write a power list and get all this accomplished before 7 a.m. I'm a human being. So, but I know if I do go do it, I'm going to feel pretty good about it. So it's something that I've learned. It has a positive impact on my life. So then if there are things I find that positively impact my life, like reading to my kids before they go to bed at night, that positively impacts my life. But sometimes I don't do that. So that's something like I like to remind myself on my power list or whatever, like, yo, remember that this makes a positive impact on your life, your children's lives, like all this stuff. So go do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't need a reminder because I'm just doing it every night, or sometimes I'm gone for a lot of travel and I get out of the habit of doing it and I forget. And I need to remind myself.
I think that brings us to a really good stopping point. I think we could talk about discipline. I mean, I think we all need to meet again in Nashville so I can meet you guys there and spend a whole evening talking about this. So, Ward, do you have any last comments before we sign off?
Just thank you for helping me get to 200 Twitter followers. I'm kind of a big deal now, thanks to you ladies. So thanks for letting me be part of this. It was really cool.
We appreciate you joining us, Ward. You're already a really big deal. Wait, give us your social shout out. Tell us your handles, how everybody can follow you.
You can follow me at 10xward on Instagram or Twitter. And then I also have a blog called supplychainrealestate.com. That's supplychainrealestate.com. And those are definitely 3 best ways. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, but track me down at 10xward on Instagram is probably where I'm the most active in social media world.
All right. Thanks so much for being our guest host and joining us on this podcast. Remember to take the DNA of CRE survey before March 30th. And we thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Thanks.
On CRE Chat Live, we have another chat tonight.
Tonight.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.